it's also the first lyric that Robert Plant was really happy with and really satisfied with, and it's, you know, that it gives us Robert Plant as the sort of hippie troubadour, if you like. You know, Plant is a very bright guy and was a very bright guy. He was articulate, he was interesting, and he read a lot. And like a lot of kind of hippies at the time, he had read The Lord of the Rings and was obsessed with Tolkien.
How years ago, in days of old, when magic filled the air, just in the darkest depths of Mordor, I met a girl so fair. But Gollum, at the evil wall, crept up and slipped away with her, yeah.
You know, there were real sort of parallels between sort of flower power and Tolkien. It was a sort of sacred text for the hippies. You know, and Plant was a real kind of dreamer and a fantasist, and loved this, you know, idea. You know, loved these landscapes that he could kind of lose himself in. You know, and he was fascinated with all kinds of mythology.
The album closed with Bring It On Home, which was itself a reworking of an old Sonny Boy Williamson song of the same name. However, the song's production and vocal style have led to it being criticised as an awkward pastiche.
And then he does this vocal on the opening part, which I don't know if it was treated in some fashion to get that strange sound it has. Some people regard it as a tasteless send-up of the old blues guys. Possibly it was intended that way. It's hard to imagine that it would be done in a sarcastic way, you might say, or a disrespectful way, because of who they were, because of who Plant was in particular, who was a great lover of all that music, and has never struck me as one for satire and irony and whatnot. It seemed to me that he was kind of genuinely trying to get inside the feeling of being one of those old blues guys who he'd seen so much of. But to me, it seems fine that he gets in character, so to speak, that he's playing the old blues man, singing this song, and then becomes himself when the whole thing erupts into the heavy rock version.
Transformation of blues material. It's taking, you know, the rudiments of an old Sonny Boy Williamson song, and then, you know, going from that into just another staggeringly kind of funky, you know, blues riff.
Bring It On Home becomes, to me, a very strong white blues track, and it's one of the best displays of how Led Zeppelin could reinterpret R&B without copying, could put their spirit into it.
These interpretations of other artists' material have, however, led to accusations of plagiarism being levelled at the band.
Should a plumber receive a royalty every time a toilet he has installed is flushed. I mean, there are only 12 notes in the chromatic scale, and possibly every one of them, every combination of them has been used up by now. And certainly Led Zeppelin were very aware of this when they sort of effectively plagiarized a lot of work by other artists and sort of made a few slight adjustments and claimed it as their own composition.
There's no earthly reason to me why Led Zeppelin should not have done exactly what they did, which is take the songs, vary them, make them their own. I think what's controversial is that their crediting was at times clearly not scrupulous. And so where often they would have done better saying Trad arranged Led Zeppelin or particular members of Led Zeppelin, they would just put it down as if they wrote it. And of course one would wish that they hadn't done that, and it would have been better for their reputation and their name in the history of rock if they'd just been scrupulous about it.
In 1 year, Led Zeppelin had become one of the biggest groups in the world. They had not only established themselves, but through their first 2 records, they created a blueprint for 1970s hard rock.
The extraordinary thing about the first 2 Led Zeppelin albums, I think the reason they're so successful as artistic statements is that they've got all the fire and energy of youth, the fact that they're all together for the first time and creating spontaneously together great music and getting a kick out of hearing each other playing.
The emotional power of those records, it just dwarfs everything else that was going on at that time.
Although the band would go on to even greater success with albums such as Led Zeppelin 4 and Physical Graffiti, never again would the music so clearly reflect the passions and histories of those iconic individuals who together formed one of the most significant bands ever to emerge in modern music.
Led Zeppelin wasn't so much the beginning of something new as the culmination of everything that went before. All the groups that Robert Plant and John Bonham had struggled with, and all the work that John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page had done as session men, as yardbirds, all the sort of experiences that they had, all the sort of skills they had acquired, over years and years of countless record dates, all came to a head in Led Zeppelin.
You just had that fusion. It's just like life. It's made up of different chemicals. They could be inert for millions of years, but they all mix around, and then all of a sudden one day, bang, you've got an amoeba, which is a live thing. That's basically what happened with Led Zeppelin, and then that amoeba became a dinosaur.